All right, Keller Williams, welcome to our daily Zoom call with one of our fantastic Meg agents here in the office. Thank you all for joining us today. Today we're talking to Partick Brogley. Partick, as you all know, works here in the office, and him and his team do a great job when it comes to lead generation. And I know right now a lot of you are trying to figure out, well, what do I do? How do I do this? How do I take care of my clients? So we're going to be talking to Partick about that today. Let's get our screen set up here and we'll jump right in. So, and if you could, mute yourselves if you're not speaking and unmute yourselves if you decide you, I'll just mute everyone. Hold on a second. There we go, nice and easy. All right, so I've muted everybody. If you guys decide you want to ask some questions, just unmute yourself to jump in if you could, and we can go from there. So first, let's start off, Partick, by talking about how's your approach to your business activities changed in the last couple of weeks? What have you been doing differently, or what have you tweaked to work through this time?
I would say the number one thing that I'm focusing on and implementing a different sort of strategy is, which is kind of atypical for our business, is really starting to get back a much higher level into the database. And, I've been making a lot of phone calls as of late, just kind of a different sort of approach, right? So, hey, thank you so much for being a part of our life. I really appreciate the opportunity to have been of service in the past. And I just wanted to let you know that I'm here for you. And I wanted to find out if there was anything that I could do for you in this particular moment in time.
Okay. Do you have any stories about how that's been going, or any kind of insights to share with the team about connections you've made or strengthened or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it really, for me, when we come from, a place of contribution, like we learn, the opportunity presents itself where people just start opening up, even if I just leave it at that simple of a conversation. I wanted to call you. I was thinking about you. I wanted to find out if there was anything that I could do for you. What is going on in your world? How can I be of service? How can I help you? And, people just start opening up. I've had some really incredible conversations. Steve and I had a conversation last night, and she's opening up to us, past client that just closed on a deal a couple of weeks ago. And I mean, she's real. I'll tell you what, this is unprecedented for a lot of people. And this is gonna impact big time a lot of people's lives and livelihood. And, she's a dentist, and she had to lay off 2 of her staff, and she owns her own practice on Venice Island. I mean, it's a big deal. Yeah. So to just be available for her in time of need, she's a great contact for us because she's given us a lot of business, and just to be able to be there and a time for her, we've given her several contacts for some referrals and things of that sort. And it just feels good to have that more intimate sort of connection even after a sale is done. I think, the opportunity really presents itself. I got another listing this week that I'm going to get signed just from a simple call, hey, what's going on in your world? How can I help you?
Yeah, and I think people forget, especially since we're having these conversations every day, because we've heard this from so many of our agents, right? Whether it's Laura or Charles or Joe or Gary or Kim and Phil, any of the agents that have been on the calls with us so far, and then many of you that have just kind of chimed in and offered your point of view on it, don't take for granted that you're doing that. Like, that is very special, very unique. There's 7,000 realtors in our board. I guarantee you 7,000 of them are not putting that kind of effort and energy and care into their clients, into their database, into their past clients. So don't take for granted that you guys are doing that every day. And if you're not doing that every day, we've been talking about it now almost every call this week. And it's not because I'm asking these guys to say that. I'm just asking these questions unscripted. Like, we don't prep this ahead of time. But you're hearing the same thing from these top agents every day, because their mindset is one of abundance. It's one of coming from contribution. It's one of taking care of those people that have given them business in the past and supported them in the past. So if you're not modeling your behaviors after what they're doing, you might want to think about, why are they continuing to have such success when so many agents in our business right now are pumping the brakes and wondering what to do next. So.
Yeah, and it's, it just goes back to everything that we always learn. It's not about the transaction, it's about the relationship, right? So having the opportunity to be connected with somebody and on an intimate level, like I'm in your life, I'm here, I'm available for you. Whatever I can do to be of service to help you in this time of uncertainty, that's what I'm looking to achieve. What can I do for you? And then things just start opening up. When I have a place and a mindset of like, okay, I'm going to be available for my clients because they're the ones that ultimately support me, right? What can I do for you at this particular moment in time? I think it's a rearrangement of our attitudes. It's a rearrangement of our beliefs and our mindset and like the way we look at things, like you were talking about, having that scarcity sort of mindset, like, oh my gosh, it's fear mindset. Get outside of that. What can I do for another person, right? How can I be available for another person in their time of need?
Absolutely.
And things just start shifting automatically,
So we talked about you kind of reaching out to your database, past clients, people you're already in relationship with.
Yeah.
I don't hear you guys taking your foot off the gas either when it comes to your expired calls and your lead gen calls. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, the opportunity is still out there. The way that I've been looking at it, like, is first and foremost, I want to be able to kind of see what's going on in our marketplace. Like for me, I'm just seeing this for me on my end. There's not a whole lot of seasonal home buyers in our marketplace right now. So like people that are purchasing second homes, people that are purchasing vacation homes and things of that buyer is not in our marketplace. So, okay, so what can I do to find somebody that is motivated, that truly needs to sell right now? Maybe it's a vacant property that they've already purchased a new home. Now it's vacant. Now they just need to be able to sell, get it off their books, be able to relinquish that property sooner rather than later, because time is money, right? So that's somebody that I would intend to have a focus on. I took a listing last week. It's been on the market for a year with 2 other realtors. And, and I explained to her, our market is shifting. If we just tell people like what the market is doing right now, how many showings are we having on our listings every week? What kind of activity are we having? What kind of, calls and inquiries are we having on our listings, and communicate. There's a big change. So if you want to be able to sell this property and want to be able to do it sooner rather than later, this needs to be the most competitively priced property, because we are still getting showings. We are still getting activity, but the difference between 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, and now this week and last week, it's totally different.
Yeah, so, I think a lot of the sellers might be even more connected to their motivation,
right,
than they have in the past, because they have a sense of urgency on top of that.
So I'm seeing still, especially right now, like high-end school districts, really top-end school districts, so properties that like somebody would be relocating their entire family to be in here, or they're upgrading into a new home from a first-time home buyer. That I see a lot of people that are looking to get in on the action there. A lot of investors were putting a deal together today from a 1031 exchange. So there's people out in our marketplace that see the opportunity, right? That see that if there truly is a motivated seller, I'm going to get a good deal. I'm going to get maybe 5, 10, 15, maybe 20% off a list price, just because nobody else is looking at their property. But if we are, and you want to be able to move it, we're going to get it done. So I guess it just like looking at the sort of motivation from a buyer and a seller. So if I have somebody that's 9 months out, a year out, I don't even want to waste my time with that person at this particular moment. Not that they're unimportant, but there's, we're trying to feed our families here.
Yeah, you got to really focus on what's you're going to spend your time on.
Yeah.
So the last kind of business question I had for you before I hand it over to Jamie was going to be, so you're sitting on, I think, 39, 40 listings right now.
Active and pending.
Yeah, last time I looked. So what are you doing to take care of your current clients that are already in business with you, right? You're talking to your database, people you have relationships with, people who have done business in the past. You're working on new lead generation. What are you doing to reassure the folks that have already chosen to be in business with you that you're going to be able to kind of serve them throughout?
I think it's just being honest, just being transparent and just letting people know what's really going on. And so that we're not creating any unmet expectations. So creating the reality, right? Showing somebody that, hey, just like what we hear on the media sometimes, there's a lot of people that say, oh, this is so awful, and it will change, it will get better. We will have an upside. We will correct back to normal. We will even have maybe even more opportunity on the upside. So I think it's just being truthful, it's being transparent, it's being honest about the current situation. Yes, we're having less showings. Yes, we're going to be taking precautions. We're making sure on all of our listings that people have a proof of funds or a pre-approval. They are ready, willing, and able to go. We're not just going to show property here to anybody that's just wanting to get in the front door. That's not happening. People are going to be moving forward if they're looking at one of our listings.
Yeah, I think somebody said on our call the other day, it's kind of like, Christmas or Thanksgiving right now in regards to the buyers that are in the market are serious buyers.
Yeah,
right. There aren't just people kicking tires, right? If they're choosing to go out right now and
they're ready
and look at property, talk to a realtor, they're serious buyers. Those are the people that are out there. So if you come across one of them, really take that opportunity and try to service them at a high level. So.
Yeah, I used to sell cars, and when I was selling cars, people that showed up on a really rainy, heavy downpour day, I knew they were buying it. Absolutely, every single time. If they showed up on the lot and it was raining, it was pouring, they were buying a car from me today. Yep.
Great. So hey, Jamie, are you ready with? I know you had some stuff you wanted to talk to Patrick about.
Yeah, I'm ready. First of all, Patrick, your passion is very contagious. I love your energy. I know everybody loves your energy. It's super.
I love your energy.
Thank you. I wanted to have you share a little bit about what you're doing to help your team keep the right mindset moving forward, because, we can inspire people to be motivated, right? But motivation has to come from within. So what are you doing as far as the Rainmaker working with your team to keep them focused?
Well, I think it always comes down to a positive mental attitude, and again, it comes back to what are we doing for other people at this particular moment? Not staying inside of myself, because when I'm inside of myself, I have a self-centeredness, and the self-centeredness creates fear, right? So if I get outside of myself and I can be available for another person and I can help another person and just be truly present for another person, now I get outside of that fear and I get into faith. And that's really, at the end of the day, that's the bottom line. So what can I do for another person? How can I truly be of service? How can I help another person? That creates a positive mental attitude. That creates a mind shift, and a new idea, a new perspective, a new attitude, a new belief system. We do gratitude lists. We do affirmations. We say what we're grateful for out loud to each other, and we hold each other accountable. We're intending to read the Shift book just to be able to kind of, create a little bit more culture within, and just different things of that sort. Last night we were here at the office just kind of goofing around and things like that, but it was fun, right? So we didn't, stay so negative and oh my gosh, the world is going to end or anything like that. We were just having fun. We were having a good time. We were goofing off. We were making calls, and we're contacting our database, and we're going through our pipeline. Who's ready, willing, and able to move forward right now? Who can I be calling right now that I could do a deal with? Because that's what it's about. It really comes down to who is going to do business with me right now. And this is really important here. You got 411s that we do every single week. This is going to create a positive mental attitude right here.
Yeah.
411.
Love it.
Every single week. Every week we do this. Every single month. It's updated. This is a call tracking sheet. This is going to create a good mental space for us. So we know what our conversions look like. We know, the conversion is not the same as it was. We get a lot of inquiry, and then, people just say, I'm going to hold off right now. So how do I overcome that objection? Really kind of creating that sense of urgency. If you're truly a buyer in our marketplace, you have an opportunity to get a good deal right now. So we have to communicate that to them, because that's the truth.
Yeah, I love it.
People to really kind of, create the urgency, but as far as keeping each other uplifted in things, and just having fun and encouraging others, supporting each other, except when I've done something, maybe an error, accept my wrong and do better to be able to correct next time. How can I learn from ways that I communicate more effectively and things?
Awesome. Thank you for that. And then my other question, I know before we open it up, you're very focused on building your profit share. And, one of the questions I get a lot is, maybe we're not coming across empathetic. I feel just the opposite. I feel like we're at a time where we should be even more passionate about offering Keller Williams to other agents that are not getting the support that our agents get. Can you elaborate a little bit on that? Because I know we've been working very vigorously.
Yeah, I mean,
on
I've
that.
been in contact with quite a few agents, and listen here, I understand. I mean, this is why I'm like 6 feet away from Huron right now. Okay, I get it. I'm like, if anybody is more kind of, like, I don't want to get, germs and things like that, it's me, right? And I've been washing my hands all the time. But I've been in contact with like several agents. Their brokers have literally locked the doors. They can't even get inside their offices to get disclosures, So, I mean, in a time like this where we should be really, truly doubling down in our business efforts and really staying hyper-focused and laser-focused, I mean, they're shutting the doors.
Yeah.
So have you ever considered what a career with Keller Williams might look like?
Yeah, very good. Awesome.
I mean, just that sort of a language, and it's just asking the people that we're currently doing business with, I mean, every single person that I'm doing business with that I truly feel that would be a genuine fit in our company and our culture and our, way of doing business. I asked them, have you ever considered what a career with Keller Williams might look like for you and your business?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Could I ask Gary Turner, if you could unmute yourself? You had sent me a message over the weekend about you were reaching out to some former colleagues at Coldwell Banker because you had shared something with me. Could you share that with the group?
Yeah, so I've got the way the idea was birthed is I have a transaction that I'm in the process with an agent that was in the office that I was at Coldwell Banker. And we had a reason to just have a discussion about the transaction. And I just said, hey, what's it like over at Coldwell Banker right now? And she says, they're just eerily quiet. And I said, well, is the staff or the support group, are they communicating with you and giving you some ideas how to navigate through these times? And she said, no. She said, we got a press release from one of the senior vice presidents of the company. And at this point, nobody else knows anything more than what they told us. So what I did was I said, well, I spoke, this was Friday afternoon. I said, I spoke this morning on a Zoom call. We're having mega agents host a Zoom call every morning for all the other agents that want to participate and talk about what they're experiencing and what they're doing to keep lead generating or supporting their clients, et cetera. And she said, that's awesome. And I said, well, I will share you the link. She says, well, send me yours. And I've yet to send her mine. And I couldn't, for some reason, Friday's call was not uploaded until Monday. So Saturday, what I did was there was a release from Gary Keller. And it basically had about 5 bullet points that were broken down into an action plan that you should be doing in your business. And I sent that to her, and she was really thankful. She's like, this is a breath of fresh air because at least somebody's breaking it down and giving us some kind of a direction. So it's kind of interesting that spurred me to reach out to some other Coldwell Banker agents because now know that they're not getting the support that we have. And so I want to share that support with them. And, I'm doing it for 2 reasons. These are agents that I like and I respect and I know that are successful in normal times. And I'm also motivated in recruiting them. And, it's a win-win. If they're not getting the support where they are, at least they can get a taste of Gary Keller and Keller Williams on the water, and you know, see where it goes from there.
Yeah, and that kind of goes back to something I said at the beginning of the call. You guys really don't take for granted the fact that you work with all these amazing people that are willing to share what they're doing in their business, how they're moving forward, how they're supporting their clients in these hard times, right? This is part of our culture. The fact that you all are willing to be on here every single morning, right? 50, 60 people every single morning for the last 2 weeks have taken a half hour out of their morning when, you know, there's a lot of other stuff happening in the world, and you've come together as a family and had these conversations shared with each other. So I think that's awesome. You know, that's not something that's happening anywhere else. So I applaud you all for doing that.
And I just want to say something to the agents that have shared, because I've been sending the Zoom links out to agents, mega agents all over, and we're going to be featuring some of them on the Zoom call, you know, in the near future. But you guys are making such a huge difference in these agents' lives, like more than you realize, like the encouragement. That's why I have been sending it. It's not to recruit. I don't look at it as, oh, I want to go recruit someone,
Right.
but I want to make a difference in their life, just like you do. So just know that people are being impacted by your advice, by the value that you're bringing to agents. And I just want to thank you for that, because it's huge. I can't tell you how many texts I'm getting from top agents within this area thanking me, and even texting me, some of them on right now, saying, do you have the link for the morning? So I just wanted to say that.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was cool.
So Jamie, did you have any more questions for Patrick, or do you want to open it up to the group for the last 5 minutes?
I'd like to,
or so?
we can open it up. That'd be good.
Okay. So guys, I do have everybody muted just so we can get a bunch of background noise. So unmute yourself now. If you do have a question, we'd love to hear from you, please.
Hey, Patrick, it's Laura. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I do have a question for you. With all the expired calls that you're making, what are you finding is the biggest objection that people are giving you right now, and how are you handling it?
Most people are saying, you know, hey, we're thinking about, you know, just kind of holding off, you know. And the way that I've been communicating to people is that we are still having activity. You know, we're still having showings. And I just go laser focused into what their motivation is. You know, I don't want to spend my time at an appointment or going to an appointment to risk, you know, my health or their health if somebody's not willing to move forward. I mean, if they're not, they don't need to sell, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not even a conversation that, you know, at this point that I'm willing to spend more time on.
So you're not going into any type of conversation about kind of what you're seeing in the market, or are you having those conversations?
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah,
So
I'll still reiterate to them that we are having activity, right? There are showings still taking place, and we can take necessary precautions to be able to make sure that everything is the way it's supposed to, you know, FaceTime videos, virtual tours, all the professional high resolution photography. And, you know, we want to make sure that people are qualified, right? So which we will make sure that that happens. People are ready, willing, and able to move forward. They have a proof of funds, pre-qualification, pre-approval before they ever step foot in the door. And if you're okay with that, I know that I'm okay with that. Other agents are going to be okay with that. If you want to sell, we do still have that opportunity. If not, then that's okay. We understand that. I mean, there's not really a whole lot of other rebuttals that we can share with that. I mean, if somebody's worried about people coming into their home, I mean, you can't really get over that objection. You know, I get it. Everybody else gets it, you know.
Cool.
But, you know, here's the thing. Again, it's going back to the motivation, right? So when you sell, what do you intend to do next? You know,
Mm-hmm.
Where are you intending to go to next?
Right. Thank you, Laura. Does anybody else have a question for Patrick? We've got a few minutes left, so jump on, ask your questions, please.
Well, this is Gary. One comment about just exactly what he just talked about. You know, when somebody's talking about opening their house up to people to come look at it, say, well, we're in a unique time. You know, the only people that are out looking at properties are the serious buyers. So would you rather have 12 people a day going through your house under normal circumstances, or would you like to have 4 or 5 serious buyers looking at your house?
That's right. Give them the you could give them the the third party story of, you know, hey, there's an agent in my office. He was saying, you know, every time that, you know, he had somebody come on his car lot, he knew that they were ready to buy, you know, they were ready to purchase, you know, and so it's the same thing, you know, if you have a showing, you know, especially if they're qualified, right? If they're willing to show you approved funds, they got money, show them money right now, and they're willing to show that to you. They're ready to do all if they like. So, you know, I mean, we can take officers' clubs, I mean, lights all over people.
Hey, Patrick, the sound is breaking up. Your all sound's breaking up.
Now we don't have any sound.
No, there's no sound.
Hello?
Okay. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Hey, we almost got through the whole call today without any technical problems, so that's pretty good. So we do have time for 1 or 2 more questions if anybody wants to jump in. I know we got a lot of, you know, chatty Cathys on this call, and you guys are all very quiet, so speak up, ask your questions. Nobody? All right. Well, we looks like we'll be finishing on time today then. So thank you so much for getting on, guys. Tomorrow's call is going to be a little bit different. We have 3 of our vendor partners going to be on the call with us tomorrow. So we have Dustin from Bank of England, Ryan Featherstone from Dunlap Moran, and then we have Heather from Goosehead Insurance. So I've asked each of them to get on and just share about 5 minutes about what they're seeing on their side of everything that's happening right now. And that'll leave us plenty of time for you all to ask some questions, because I know you and your buyers and your sellers probably have a lot of questions about, well, what's happening with mortgages, or am I going to be able to get insurance? Our title, our closing's happening like normal. So these guys have a lot of great information to share with you. I encourage you to jump on tomorrow, have some questions ready, so that we can, you know, get as much information out of them as possible. And we'll see you tomorrow morning at 8:30. Thank you to Patrick. Thank you to everybody that got on and participated today. And we'll see you in the morning. Have a good one.
Okay, and thank you.
Thanks, Patrick. Thanks.